Okay, it says connecting on your.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Oh,
okay.
there you go.
Excellent. Yay, we made it. Technology, love it.
Yep.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Coffee Chat with Courage to Create and Joel Salinas. We're very excited to have you here. And oh, yeah, perfect. You have coffee.
I've had my coffee. I'm ready.
I gotta get with the program. I only have water. So yes, bring your coffee so you can participate in our chat. I'm super excited to have Joel on the live today because he was the first person that offered to write an article for me, which was something completely new and exciting, super exciting for me. And the way we connected and we started talking is through our combined passion for ethical and responsible AI. So I will let Joel introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his journey in the AI world, and then we'll get into the depth of the article that he wrote recently. And I will, in the meantime, I will put a link in the chat to his fabulous piece. So, Joel, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Yeah, my name is Joel Salinas or Joel Salinas if you speak Spanish. I'm originally from Bolivia and born and raised in South America. And I've been my main education experience is business, but I've been in the world of nonprofit business for a long time. So I grew up in a pastor's home in Bolivia, and I've seen the challenges that organizations, churches face. Then I came to the U.S. I'm married. I have two children, 7 and 2, and I work for a Christian nonprofit organization. It's an NGO that humanitarian aid that focuses on really helping the most vulnerable people around them. So there's one of the big crises that we're seeing is just displacement. People displaced from their homes. There's the most people displaced from their homes right now in 2025 than any time in history. So that's a lot of what I do professionally. I'm the head of marketing operations and innovation, and I've been able to see firsthand, both in the United States and overseas, just how much opportunity there is for leaders if they know the tools that are available for them and how to use them correctly. So a lot of my passion and really the reason that I'm writing on Substack is to help leaders wherever you are, whether you're a creator, whether you are a pastor, whether you are a business leader, whether you're an entrepreneur, how you can leverage modern tools to maximize your impact. So that's really what I do. If I can have a small part in helping a leader somewhere in the world be able to do a little more of what they're wanting to do, that's my goal.
Thank you, Joel. Wow, I will try to practice my Spanish. I love I love what you said. Welcome, Matthew. Um, welcome, Dov. Super happy to have you here. So I will go back to your original uh, hola. ¿Cómo estás? That's my extent of Spanish. By
Hey,
the
that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
I'm going to go completely off topic and off the script right now. But before we started our live, we were chatting, and I was sharing with Joel that in my previous life I spent time in Argentina, And what I remember and what stayed with me was the experience of everyone being so welcoming and just visiting strangers' homes, and they'll be like,
Hmm.
"And try this dish, and try this dish." And how about this coffee or this tea?
Yep.
And I loved it. But for me, uh, the most awesome part was because they uh, they thought, here comes a foreigner from America. We'll see if she's courageous enough to eat some crunchy dead bugs. And of course, because I grew up in Poland during solidarity and martial law, I was like, yes, I'm more than happy to eat bugs.
Oh, that's funny. That is.
So anyway, so that was completely off topic and off script. But Hall, what I love what you said is so tying all of it to thought leadership, but also tying it to non-for-profits and NGOs. So my heart is also, I work with non-for-profits, and I write grants for
Oh, awesome.
to make things happen and make things possible. And so I'm very committed and passionate about that whole world.
Hmm.
And to your point, having someone like you coming on Substack and helping thought leaders, NGO, non-for-profits, executive directors, boards use AI
Hmm.
and make us more comfortable with it. And also, again, I will go back to my other passion, which is using AI in a very ethical and responsible
Yeah.
way. Um, I think that having your experience and having your experience, especially in marketing, and in that whole world, I think we can and will learn today a lot from you. So let's get
Well,
started.
good.
So let's talk about in your article, you, and that was one of my absolutely favorite things, is you talked about using chisel as a metaphor of
Hmm.
being grounded and a new way to use AI and feeling the grain
Hmm.
in your creative process as you are doing it. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So there, there's a lot of fear around AI,
Mhm.
and there has always been fear around something, whether it was airplanes back in the day, internet, social media. Um, what I want to try to help people understand is AI is not an end goal. AI is just, I think of it as fire or electricity. In this case, a chisel. It's a means to get something. And if AI is going to destroy something, it's going to be because of us. Um, in the same way that I could use a chisel to destroy, art, or I could use a chisel if I have the skills to, make art and make something beautiful. And I think one of the one of the things that I hear often is a fear that human expertise is no longer going to be important in the age of AI, which I don't think we're in the age of AI yet. I think we're just getting started. Um, and some the chisel analogy to me is so apt because if you have a chisel but you have no sculpturing skill, you're not gonna do anything important. You're not gonna really create anything. But that's where skill comes in. Um, One of the things I have in my Substack is a tool called Future Proof Yourself. It's a free tool, and essentially anybody can go in, answer a few questions, and get a 6-month plan of how they can implement AI learning into their current skills. Your skill set, your expertise, I think it's going to be more important than ever in the next decade, as long as you also understand where to use, you know, AI in it. Well, if the and that's the piece that I think so many are missing. So when I talk about the chisel, I just want, if you know how to use AI while you're developing your expertise and you know how the two can go together for you, which it's going to be different for me than for you, Magdalena.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where I think leaders can have the most impact. And I'm excited because I think if for those who knows how to use it, you're going to have a small three-person organization in Nigeria or in Bolivia or in Poland be able to match 100-person team in San Francisco, as long as you know how to.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, and I absolutely love what you said. And I'm curious for our listeners, viewers, what is your biggest fear in terms of AI? Because for myself, what I keep hearing from others, my clients, um, it's I will be replaced by AI. So that's number one
Mhm.
fear, and I personally don't agree with that. I don't think that we will be replaced by AI. I think we have an opportunity to learn, upskill, and implement it in a way that actually allows us to 10x our life's productivity and impact. What are your thoughts on being replaced?
I think there's going to be a big effect, I think, on jobs, and jobs are going to change, I think, dramatically. I think things that are really monotonous and mechanical.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, we're already seeing how self-driving is coming, and I mean that's going to make an impact. Now, for example, at in my team, we're able to produce a lot of content. Probably what 10 years ago it would have taken 15 writers, but we have 3 to 4 writers. Um,
Yeah.
so, but one of the things that I really like what you said. I do think there's going to be a change, just like any new just evolution brings change. But one of the things that I don't think is mentioned enough is how many new opportunities, new industries
Mhm.
are going to be born out of it. I mean, if you think of a creator who no longer has to spend 7 hours on each article, but they spend one because the first 60% of the research is done for you, or a doctor that doesn't have to spend, has 50% extra hours because admin is already taken care of. Or I think of one of the examples I use often is my wife. My wife, she went to college to study Spanish to teach at a school in person.
Yeah.
Um, but by the time she graduated and she started actually working, she actually never stepped foot in a classroom. She teaches online.
Mhm.
But online teaching, foreign language online teaching, didn't exist as an industry. Learning. So I feel like there are a lot of fields that are going to come that we're going to love. I mean, some people on this call, their dream job may be something that doesn't even exist today.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest skill that we can develop today is learning how to be malleable so we can take advantage where it's possible.
Yeah. I'm so with you, Juliana. AI is my personal assistant, and it is my dream come true. Absolutely, because I was always saying I wish I could have virtual assistant or personal assistant or some
Mhm,
sort of assistant, and there we go. It came true. I will say though, and how we can talk a little bit more about the training
mhm,
and the technical aspect of it. But for me, personally, it took 6 months to train AI to be my personal virtual assistant.
Hmm.
I'm still in the process of optimizing my process flows and using Zapier and some other crazy things to make things more automated.
Hmm.
But again, I'm having fun with it, and I love technology and learning. Learning for me, it's like being in a candy store. I know that not everyone is like that.
I love that. I love
but
that.
but I will say, right, I did spend 6 months of heads down, um practicing, experimenting. I was experimenting like crazy in the beginning.
Hmm.
I started with probably what everyone starts with, like a one sentence
Yep.
prompts. And now my
Yep.
prompts are 2 to 3 pages, which is,
Hmm.
when you think about it, it's crazy. But again, you,
Hmm.
you get much better results this way. So I'm curious for you, how was your journey? What are your more practical, technical learnings, solutions? What have you discovered in your journey?
Yeah. I started early, when ChatGPT just started coming out, and it it was the same thing as you. And this is what I would tell anybody who doesn't know where to start. Just start using it, and learn what works for you. Um, One of the biggest pieces for me was, it's important to understand what the weaknesses and strengths are of each tool. And I think of AI as like a collaborator, essentially. So when you think of, you're talking about giving your prompt 2 pages of information. If I, if I have a research assistant that I'm meeting with,
Mhm.
and I'm going to give them, 2 days to work on a project, I'm not going to tell them, first time I meet them, I'm not going to tell them, hey, um, I want to know more about ducks in Argentina. If I want to know about hunting, and I want to know about seasons, and I want to know about, this is specifically what I want to learn about ducks, not this. I need to share that. And it's the same way. I mean, you're gonna get the AI to, they're just gonna reflect us. If I'm using it deeply, and if I'm going back and forth, um, it's gonna be much more useful than if you just have a prompt. And one of the things that I've started doing is, not with simple things, but if I'm having a deeper question, before I get an answer, I have a hotkey on my keyboard where I just type, 2 letters, and it'll automatically write the end of the prompt that I add on each one of these, which is essentially, before you do any calculations and any responding, go ahead and ask me 5 questions
Mm.
that are going to help you better understand what
Yeah.
and then I answer those, and I get much, much better results. But
Yeah.
I think the worst thing that, I think when you go to a level 2 of AI knowledge,
Mhm.
is when you don't settle for the first response that comes out of whatever tool you're using.
Yes, yes, yeah, absolutely. And also, yeah, I do. I'm a big proponent of using questions, and
Hmm.
also asking challenging or controversial questions. So I
Hmm.
use things like, can you suggest what I'm not seeing, or can you
Yeah.
expand on why did you answer this way? So just a lot of creative questioning slash prompting, right?
Hmm.
But that comes from, for me, years and years of research background and analytical approach
Yep.
to. And I love the analogy of a personal assistant. So one of the great funniest description of AI I've ever heard from someone was that AI is like a personal assistant in college they are always under influence. They have not slept. And so you have to keep asking, you have to keep verifying, and you have to go back and repeat the same things over and over. And I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what's happening.
That's funny. That's funny.
And that's why I love that particular description. I'm like, yeah, I can relate to that. And to your point, it's like when you are working with a personal or with a teaching assistant in the university settings, you don't give them two pages of prompt before you start the project. You give them the freedom to explore,
Hmm.
and then there's the collaboration aspect. That's what makes it fun. So just like you, I would encourage everyone to play,
Yeah.
experiment, play some more, and always check and verify.
Yeah.
Because I've there's so many times where I was just blown away by the responses, and I was like, oh my God, thank God I checked the math because it was so
Yeah.
simple, or click through the link. So that's more from the technical perspective. I'm just curious, which tools do you use?
I think to to an extension of your first point, it isn't when you have assistants, you you don't just and I think this is gonna evolve as
Mhm,
tools get better. But if I have an assistant whose expertise is in history and literature, I'm
mhm,
not gonna give them a math problem to go
mhm,
solve.
mhm,
I think it's good to know what tools do what. So, for example, if all you're using is ChatGPT for absolutely everything, you're probably falling short in a few areas. I think of if I'm wanting, I want some creative ideas. I'm gonna go to
mhm.
ChatGPT.
Yep.
But if I am wanting research, for example, if I'm in my organization, if we're wanting to do some research on natural disasters in Africa and some of the latest
Mhm,
numbers on things, I'm not going to go to Chat. Research is not personally for something like research. I'm going to go to Perplexity.
mhm.
And a lot of the times I build tools. I build different artifacts and a website. And when I'm trying to do anything related to that, I go to Claude. And more actually, even creative stuff, I'm going to Claude. But so in answer to your question, I use Claude a lot.
Mhm.
I've really been migrating most of my use from ChatGPT to Claude the last 2 months. And then research, I go to
Right.
Perplexity.
Right.
It has a lot of the stuff that I do. I need to make sure quotes are verified, citations are verified. It's not ChatGPT. Sometimes it'll do a 10-page research article, and then when you look at the sources, it's used five random Reddit threads, and
Yeah,
I can't.
that's
So,
true. Yeah.
it's important to know what the strengths and weaknesses are of each tool that you use.
Hmm. And I will build on the. I think by the end of this life, we'll have like an entire analogy about how to talk about AI. So I will
Yeah.
build on the assistant analogy because I love what you said. So for me personally, Chad is my general teaching assistant or
Hmm.
research assistant,
Uh-huh.
and then Perplexity is my my person that I would put in charge of deep research, and
Yeah.
then Cloud would be the one like the senior research assistant
I
in a
like that.
way.
I like that.
And yeah, it does interesting. I find that fascinating. That in a way it takes three, sometimes four tools. Because I also use Notebook LM to summarize um, research and create the podcast, so I can listen to
Hmm.
things in the car when I'm driving.
I like that.
So
I like that.
So that's my audiovisual assistant, I guess.
Yep.
I think there's a whole article coming from this one. How to manage and organize your research assistant in the form of AI tools. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I do use Notebook, and its capability to do the podcast and the audio, because that really saves me a lot of time when I'm driving.
Yeah.
But okay, perfect. So we got a little bit into the weeds of
No, that's good. That's
technology,
excellent.
and so let's go back to ethical and responsible usage. So in your article, you said that AI can disembody or create dependency when it comes to emotional approach. What would you suggest for creators and writers to stay emotionally anchored in in their own voice while they're using the tools?
I think it comes down to, first of all, you have to know yourself and know what your strengths are. Um, you don't want to use AI to replace your strength. You want to replace the things that are going to let you spend more time on your strengths. And I think there's more and more I see there's two different AI users, and it can be creators, it can be any industry. You have what I call lazy AI, which is there's a lot of that on Substack where it's, hey, here's my prompt, here's the article, copy, paste, done.
Mm.
Um, and there's going to be a ton of that on the internet, more and more.
Mhm, mhm.
Some estimates think that 95% of new content online within the next 5 years is going to be all AI. But
Which is depressing. Okay.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But when that happens, what what starts happening with people who use AI in that way, lazy AI use, where instead of thinking, you're just letting AI do the job, and then
Mhm.
what happens is you automatically get stagnant. You stop
Yeah.
developing your own expertise. And then there's the other type of AI use, which is that of collaborator. I I I I like to dive into metaphors. I like to dive into quotes and some of the research.
Mhm.
So it used to take so much time for me to think of outline. And so now all I do is that first 60% of work on each one of my articles, I'll just talk to ChatGPT or Claude, and I'll say, hey, this is what I'm trying to get at in this article. These are the kind of points that I'm trying to hit. Give me three options of outlines that we can use. And then when I get to it, we look at the options, select one, let's, plan it out. And then I still come and offer and add my expertise. Um, and that allows me to now not spend, like, if I have 2 hours to write an article, I'm not spending 1 hour on the outline and 1 hour on refining. I'm spending a lot more time on the refinement. So there is a way, and that MIT study
Mhm.
came out recently. There is a way that, and I think this is happening in schools a lot, where it's so easy for a student to just, outsource their whole essay to ChatGPT, and I worry that
Yeah.
they're not developing those skills. But that happens with adults as well. I mean, if you notice that you're no longer thinking hard, that you're just using it wrong. If you have more time to use your expertise on things, then that I think that's what shows that you're using it right.
Yeah, I love what you just said. So I'm going to borrow slash steal the concept of lazy AI because I love it. It will always crack. It will always make me laugh. But it's so because it's so accurate. And at the same time, it is just terrifying and so sad if 95% is going content is going to be generated by lazy AI.
Mhm.
However, to your point, it is for me. It is about developing our cognitive abilities and growing our brains and creating new neural pathways to actually enhance our overall experience.
Hmm.
So in a way, can we go and use the lazy AI, and it's sort of like going to McDonald's every day? Sure, we can, but then there are consequences
Yeah,
that show up
that's a great example.
as health, negative health effect, right?
Mhm.
Or we can consider the occasional fast food diet and yet continue
Mhm.
cooking our own meals
Yeah.
and eating at home healthy with help of AI. When it comes to students and children, it's again, for me, it is fascinating because I'm in the educational sector, and seeing the difference, and also seeing how the perceptions are changing. I love how you said that a student can outsource it. And a lot of schools are trying really hard to prevent that. They are building firewalls and ways for students not to do it. And that is a choice that I do respect. And at the same time, I do wonder, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, our jobs are completely going to change. So maybe the students start using and knowing how to use it in, again, ethical and responsible way, it actually helps them to prepare for their future and for the jobs that right now don't exist, and we cannot even think of what they would be called and what they will look like.
Yeah, I think that's something that worries me, especially with little kids. I feel like
Yeah.
schools right now are preparing kids for succeeding in the world of today, or sometimes 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But
Mhm.
that's not the world that they're gonna live in. The world that they're gonna live in is, the next 5, 10, 20 years. And I don't think, you know, we're being prepared. We're preparing children for that. So that's a big piece. I think, to your point, in the same way that schools need to teach financial literacy, students are going
Mhm.
to get out and use a credit card.
Yeah.
Why not just teach them how to do it right on the front end while they're young? I think the same happens with AI. Um, Teach how to use it well, and
Yeah.
then they're going to be set up to for more success.
Yeah.
It's a
So
tough balance.
it is a tough balance, but I think there's an amazing opportunity for someone out there, and I'm sure there's already people that are working on it, on programs that are actually addressing the
Hmm.
responsible and ethical way and preparing children how to use it, how to use AI, um, just the way that financial literacy is taught, or just
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
um, and health well-being programs are being implemented, or music programs. um for for me, when I think, so that's at the student level. At the teacher and administration level, I think that's another pathway and another opportunity for someone to make bazillion of dollars, that
Yeah.
to create programs that are allowing to teach the usage in an ethical and responsible way, to overcome the fear, because there's a huge fear of implementing
Hmm.
that, starting with as an administrator or teacher and to be replaced by AI, which personally I don't think it will ever happen. We'll always need teachers.
Hmm.
um, but I might be wrong. I hope I won't be alive to see that. Anyway, That's 2035 prediction, or 2050. So it's the opportunity of building those programs and educating, and then overcoming the fear,
Hmm.
and allowing people to experiment and play. I'm a big proponent of teaching through play.
Hmm.
And so again, as a teacher, when and how can I play with AI, and how can I integrate it into my day-to-day schedule? And then, again, as a teacher, how do I use AI to make my life easier, right? Because do I have to? I don't. My hypothesis that I don't no longer have to do lesson plans by myself.
Yeah.
But then then I get to focus on some other things.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
that's
here's
yeah.
so imagine this. You students, because I think one of the things that's missing is teachers just
Mhm,
have to teach a certain way. Students learn in many different ways. Some are, there's different ways to learn. So imagine if in the beginning of every school year, every student took an assessment for an AI tool to determine how they learn the best and show that learn.
mhm.
And then as a teacher, you create one test, but then AI takes that test and tweaks it to match every student's learning style. So every
Yeah.
student is going to get that your test in a specific way that matches how they show learning. Um, I, I think those are the kind of ways that AI and teachers can collaborate to have a much
I
better
absolutely, yeah,
experience.
absolutely agree. I'm sold on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Last question. So, if a creator is just starting and they're feeling the pressure to use AI, um, because they are afraid that they will lose their authenticity,
Mhm.
what's your piece of advice around that? What can they do?
I think one of the first things that you need to do is outline step 1 through 10. What is your process to create a new piece? See which are the pieces that are the most time consuming and maybe least enjoyable for you, and then see how AI can help you replace some of those pieces. Um, like you said, it just takes a long time. It takes trial and error to figure out, and sometimes you're gonna use it for something, and then you're gonna realize that I really don't like. Yeah,
Mm,
I want to do that, and it's just gonna be a give and take. And I think a good test is after you've been using AI for 3 months, stop and think, am I better at my skill than 3 months ago, or am I worse at my skill? And if you are worse, then you're probably not using it.
mm.
It's lazy AI. But if you're using it well, then you probably have had more time to develop your expertise.
Brilliant. I love it. So, what would you say is one takeaway from today's conversation that our listener viewers can take, do, apply right away?
I think I think you just have to start. I mean, just like riding a bike, you can read all the books that you can, listen to all the podcasts. You just have to get on a bike and try it. Um, don't go down a huge hill where you're just gonna die if you fall. But you just have to start trying different tools and and figuring out what works best for you. I think that's step 1 for everybody.
Yeah, perfect. I wholeheartedly agree with you. And my one takeaway, I have many, but if I have if I have to pick, is go and play.
Mhm.
Play with different tools. hire hire different assistants. And see which assistant is actually resonating the best with you, and
Yep.
that's how you will find out. My number two takeaway is I I'm going to be the anti-lazy AI person.
That's good. That's good.
That's going to be my like, okay, do you use AI to be lazy? Yes. You cannot be my friend.
Oh,
Pre-screening
that's funny.
for
Well,
friends and potential employees or other one.
fast food every once in a while, like you said.
Yes. But no lazy AI. I just thank you so much, Joel.
Yeah,
I
this was
love
fun. Thank you.
that was so much fun. And again, like I said, I'm taking away this concept of lazy AI. I absolutely love that.
Good.
It's genius. You should patent it.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I so enjoyed it in the recording. I will also include the link to your article, and then to your tool, to your free tool, so we can all start using
Yeah,
it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We hope that you've enjoyed it and that you had as much fun as we had. I know I had way
yeah.
too much fun, and I'm like full of ideas of what to write. So
That's
that's
awesome.
even better.
Awesome.
And we're starting the movement of anti-lazy AI.
Oh,
Thank you,
yes.
Joel.
Bye.
Okay, take care.